Good morning. It's wonderful to be here. As a call to worship this morning, I'd like to offer this, which is maybe the most potent quote I know. And it's from Rainier Maria Rilke, Letters to a Young Poet. Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that are written in a very foreign tongue. Do not seek the answers which cannot be given to you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. Let's worship together.
A beautiful way to start the day. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community Church of Santa Monica Community Congregation. I am Chela Metzger, your worship associate for today, and I'm delighted to work with Michael Eselun today, this morning, an amazing speaker, an amazing presence. We're lucky to have him with us, and I'll give more of an intro in a moment. We are delighted to have all of you with us, whether you're here in our Santa Monica sanctuary or in the great beyond out in the internet world. We offer programs here to serve the needs of our congregation and to be of service to the larger world, including broad religious exploration and personal development for people of all ages. We also join with other social justice activists to work for justice and harmony in our world. We invite you to help us nurture this beloved liberal religious community and further its transformational work in the world. This is a historic congregation. It has been in this spot since the 1920s, and we love that you are here today to be part of it. May you find comfort, community, and inspiration here. Our guest speaker today is Michael Eselun, who serves as a chaplain for the Sims-Mann UCLA Center for Integrative Oncology, an amazing place. Two-time TEDx speaker, Michael speaks extensively to healthcare professionals, patient populations, and faith communities across the country. Long serving as an adjunct faculty at the Wiesenthal Center Museum of Tolerance, he's also worked as an activist and educator addressing anti-LGBTQ bias in the larger community for well over 35 years. In 2019, Michael was inducted into the UCLA Semel Institute, I'm going to mispronounce this, Eudaimonia Society, in recognition of having lived a meaning-driven life, something we could all aspire to. In early 2025, he was recognized as a champion of care by the cancer support community of Los Angeles. He has 4 volumes of CDs available for purchase. Please contact Michael through his website, www.michaeleselun.com. Now, as we gather in this sanctuary and in our virtual spaces, we recognize that our homes and the homes of most of our members and friends are located near the sacred waters and on the unceded lands of indigenous peoples. This is the traditional home of the Tongva, Quiche, Ventereño, Fernandeño, and others, and we remember their presence among us, their painful histories on this land, with this land, and the ongoing struggle for equity, justice, and sovereignty. As a special note, I always want to celebrate land back movement stories around us. This is where we return land to the indigenous peoples. This is from 2025, but it marks the first time a church ever returned land to a tribe. And I quote here, "The land located within 1 mile of the historic San Gabriel mission, the 4th mission built in California, is part of the ancestral village of Sibangana, a sacred site for the Tongva peoples. For decades, the historic tribe of Los Angeles, the Gabrieleño Tongva Tribal Council, has operated its tribal office on the land that's been returned to them, maintaining cultural continuity and stewardship despite centuries of displacement." And we'll now have our chalice lighting.
Every Sunday we gather, most of us bringing with us more questions than answers, but with a common longing for peace within. We light the chalice not with the expectation that the light of answers will be given, but with the hope that in community, perhaps we might find our way. May the flame of our spirits joined in community illuminate and ease our way for now.
Now it's time for our opening hymn.
Please rise and lower your spirit for our opening hymn, 1045, There is a Balm in Gilead.
Love is a doctrine of this church, and truth is a sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with each other. El amor es la enseñanza de esta iglesia. Buscar la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es la oración. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar el conocimiento en la libertad, servir a la humanidad en comunión. Así es como convenimos unos a otros.
Good morning. Now is the time that we collect donations to the Westside Food Bank. If you have a donation this morning, please raise your hand high in the air and our helpers will come around and collect them. Last week I talked about how collecting donations for the Westside Food Bank connects to our values of generosity and transformation. Our value of generosity tells us that we're connected to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. It invites us to cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope as we freely and compassionately share our presence and resources. Our value of transformation invites us to continuously change and grow spiritually and ethically. We have been partners in collecting food for the Westside Food Bank for many years. Please bring items that are shelf stable and also unbreakable. Pasta sauce, juice, granola bars, protein bars, cereal, chocolate. Our service to the world can be embodied right here each Sunday. As we now receive this morning's offering for the Westside Food Bank, I invite you to reflect on how generosity and transformation show up in this practice. Thank you. Do we have any special items? Tuna, nice. Large elbows. I think probably that's referring to pasta shapes, not body parts. Nice. All right. And once we're done collecting donations, if my friends want to join me on the stairs for a story for all ages, I would super appreciate that. I'll meet you on the stairs. There's plenty of room. We can all squeeze in. All right. So last week was our backpack blessing. I know a lot of people are heading back to school. Maybe it was a really busy week. So I wanted to start with maybe an easier question. Does anyone know how this world came to be? Do you have any ideas, Zia?
The Big Bang?
The Big Bang. What about you, Calvin? Any ideas about how the world came to be? No? Okay, maybe that wasn't such an easy question. Many of us know about the Big Bang, or also the Genesis story shared by Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. But humans throughout history have come up with stories that explain how we got here. And they're all different. Why do you think we tell stories about how we got here? Why do you think we want to know? Does anyone have any thoughts? Curious. Yeah, we're curious creatures. Is anyone here, you can raise your hand, do you think about how this world came to be? Do you think about it when you're laying in bed at night? How did the water go into the rivers and the trees grow to be so tall? So there are stories from all over the world. The Maori people from New Zealand believed that the sky was our father and the earth was our mother, and they kept the whole world pressed together in a big hug. But their children got tired of living in the darkness of that hug, and so they pushed their parents apart to let the light in. In China, they believe that the universe was one big cosmic egg. So there are a lot of different ideas. And when we learn about beliefs and philosophies from around the world, we can practice our UU value of pluralism. Does anyone know what pluralism means? Does anyone know?
Many different.
Yeah, Diana.
Having many different ideas coming from many different places.
Exactly. So, today, to continue practicing pluralism, I will tell the story of the golden chain, which is a creation myth from the Yoruba tradition in Africa. Long ago, before there were any people, all life existed in the sky. Olorun lived in the sky, and with Olorun were many orishas. They all lived by a young baobab tree where they found everything they ever needed for food, work, or play. In fact, they were all very creative and made things all the time, clothing themselves in beautiful robes and skirts and gold jewelry. Now, Olorun had said to them that all the vast sky was theirs to explore, but the orishas seemed pretty happy to stay near the baobab tree, except for Obatala. Obatala was the curious orisha who wasn't content to live blissfully by the baobab tree. Like all orishas, he had certain powers, and he wanted to put them to use. As he pondered what to do, he looked far down through the mists below the sky. As he looked and looked, he began to realize that there was a vast, empty ocean below the mist. Obatala went to Olorun and said, "I want to go down to the dark seas below and make something. Maybe beings like you did, so I can share with them my knowledge and teach them." Olorun, who himself had been made by Olodumare, the mysterious God beyond all things, understood Obatala's desire to create and happily said yes. I suggest you talk to Orunmila, he advised. He can see far into the future, and if anybody knows the magic you will need to do this, it is him. So Obatala consulted Orunmila of the far site. Orunmila said that Obatala would need 3 important things to take with him: a snail shell filled with powder from the baobab tree, some palm kernels, and the sacred golden egg that contained all of the spirits of the Orishas. You will also need a way to get down. Go to the goldsmith and ask him to make you a golden chain that reaches to the world below. I might have used a rope, not gold, but I guess money was not an issue there. Even though Obatala did not know what everything was for, he did exactly as Olorun said. First, he went to all the other Orishas and asked them for all the gold they had, which they gave him. Then he took it to the goldsmith and said, "Make me a gold chain that drops down into the world below so that I can climb safely down." He dressed in clean white robes and packed his belongings: the snail shell, the palm seeds. Last, he removed the sacred egg from the tree and held it carefully clutched to his chest. Then Obatala began to climb down the golden chain, down to the dark, swirling waters. For 7 days he climbed, as the dark waters got closer and closer. On the last day, when he got to the end of the chain, he found that it was too short. Obatala hung there, swinging, wondering what to do. Then Orunmila, who was watching, called to him from above, "Use the shell." Obatala remembered the snail shell and pulled it out of his pack. But he was carrying so many things as he balanced in the air that as he did so, the powder from the snail shell spilled out into the water. As the sand hit the waters, it formed masses of solid land, mountains, islands, and plains. And as he watched, he did not notice how tightly he was holding the golden egg until suddenly it cracked against his chest. Out of the egg flew Sankofa, the great golden bird, who was always looking behind it into the past to carry its wisdom into the present. The Sankofa bird carried the spirits of all the Orishas. I know it's kind of a long story, but it's almost done. In a crowd of colors, each with their own tools and knowledge, they brought the powers of nature and the elements as they explored the new world, and each found a home where they were most comfortable. When all of the Orishas had been released into the world, Obatala himself got to work. Giant trees burst forth and grew with great speed as he hummed and walked along. Then he sat down and began to mold shapes in the sand and water until he had made beings that looked a little bit like him and like the other Orishas. Olorun happened to look down from the skies as Obatala finished the people, and seeing that they were not alive yet, he took a deep breath and breathed their spirits into them. Obatala was so happy, but he began to notice something was wrong. The bodies were all different. They were not perfect, and the way they talked and behaved toward each other was sometimes strange and unkind. He sat down and groaned into the earth. "I've been careless," he cried to himself, "and now the people will suffer because I was not paying attention to how I made them." The other Orishas had heard their brother groaning in pain, and from the forests and streams, the ocean and the forge, they spoke. "Obatala," they said, "didn't you create these beings so you could share your wisdom in the first place? Why does it matter that they aren't perfect? Now not only are you here, but so are we, and we swear to you that we will also bring our gifts to help them. We will teach them all the things we know, how to take care of themselves, protect each other, and love each other as a great family, as we were. Wherever they go and whatever happens to them, we promise you that as long as your world exists, they will find us in it." Obatala smiled as he listened, comforted. For now, he knew that whenever his people found trouble, they would have help to see them through it. So that's the story of the golden chain. What did everyone think? Do you think that's how our world came to be? Yeah? So ultimately, we can't know for sure how our world was created and the birds and trees and mountains and humans came to be. Still, when we tell ourselves stories about where we came from, it helps us make sense of the sometimes chaotic and confusing world we live in. And when we understand where we came from, it can help us know where we're going. So now we're going to sing our way out to the cottage, where we will be learning and performing a song about the Orishas from today's story. Thank you, everyone.
Let's send a little thanks in our hearts to Maddie and all the work that she and the RE folks are doing for our amazing young people. Thank you. There's always announcements in your order of service, more announcements on our website, and even more announcements on the newsletter you get in the mail. So take a look at all of that when you get a chance, and I'm going to talk about a few more announcements this morning. Please do silence your cell phones. I'm going to do mine right now. We are always very honored to welcome visitors. Please find out more about who we are here in Santa Monica and what we're all about at our in-person visitor meetup, which happens after services on the first Sunday service of each month. So it should be the first service of September. And usually happens over in the cottage, so just stay tuned for that. And bring your questions. Find out more about how you and so many others might align with our Unitarian Universalist liberal religious values. Just a note about our animal ministry work. Please do try to bring animal food for donation to our animal ministry when you can. Many folks experiencing financial instability may need help feeding their beloved animal companions. There will be a music and food celebration at church next Saturday in the evening. Come and share a song and fun and food together. This is a great time for connection. And the accessibility committee here at church wants you to know there are large print services available, as well as hearing devices available for those who would like that. So just ask at the welcome table as you come in, and know that our accessibility committee is hard at work trying to improve accessibility in our historic building. Not only a historic community here, but a historic building. So there's always lots going on. Check your order of service and our website, as I said. Now it's time in a few moments to greet your neighbors. As you do, please keep an ear out for Ryan's beautiful piano cues, which will invite you back into worship and our music for the morning. For now, though, take a few minutes to say hello to those you know, and especially to those you don't know who are new among us this morning. Thank you. It's now time for our music for the morning.
It's been a long, dark night, and I've been waiting for the morning. It's been a long, hard fight, but I can see a brand new day's dawning. And I've been looking for the sunshine, I ain't seen it in so long. Everything's gonna work out just fine. Everything's gonna be alright. It's been all wrong, 'cause I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a brand new morning. Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. It's been a long, long time since I've known the taste of freedom, and those clinging vines had me bound. Well, I don't need 'em. I've been like a captured eagle. You know, an eagle's bound to fly. Now that I have won my freedom, like an eagle, I'm eager for the sky. 'Cause I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see gonna be okay, 'cause I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay.
It's time for our joys and sorrows, and I really just want to shout out and joy for Ryan and Mary and our amazing music here at UUSM. I do have a sorrow to share, a couple sorrows to share. The first one is sort of a more general, universal humanitarian sorrow of This is a Slavery Remembrance Day, which is a day that was kind of designated in Liverpool, which was the largest slave trade operation back in the day. It's also the first day of the Haitian Revolution back in the 18th century. So as we think about our world and our world's history and slavery in the past and slavery that may be happening or is happening today, and revolutions in the past and maybe revolutions still to come, or at least positive changes. Let's keep that in mind. I also have a sorrow. Sarah Robeson, her father died a week ago. And please keep her in your heart as she deals with this issue, and a great sorrow. I just do want to share a joy as well for our Reverend Diana, who's with us now and who led the Blessing of the Backpack celebration last week. I know there are unexpressed joys and unexpressed sorrows out in the world and in this room today, and I just hope we can all hold them in our hearts. I'll now hand it over to our guest speaker for mindfulness, prayer, meditation, and some little quiet.
As we move into a time of silent reflection and contemplation, I invite you to get comfortable in your seats. Maybe close your eyes and let's just take a few nice deep breaths together. Inhale and exhale. As we breathe and release the concerns of the day, before we sit in silence, I share guiding wisdom from Kazuo Ishiguro to wash over you. All I know is that I've wasted all these years looking for something, a sort of trophy I'd get only if I really, really did enough to deserve it. But I don't want it anymore. I want something else now, something warm and sheltering, something I can turn to regardless of what I do, regardless of who I become, something that will still just be there always, like tomorrow's sky. Let's sit in silence. As a reading this morning, I'd like to offer this by D.H. Lawrence called Shadows. And if tonight my soul may find her peace in sleep and sink in good oblivion and in the morning wake like a new open flower, then I have been dipped again in God and new created. And if, as weeks go round in the dark of the moon, my spirit darkens and goes out, and soft, strange gloom pervades my movements and my thoughts and words, then I shall know that I am walking still with God. We are close together now, the moon's in shadow. And if, as autumn deepens and darkens, I feel the pain of falling leaves and stems that break in storms, and trouble and disillusion and distress, and then the softness of deep shadows folding around my soul and spirit, around my lips, so sweet, like a swoon, or more like the drowse of a low, sad song, singing darker than the nightingale, on to the solstice, and the silence of short days, the silence of the year, the shadow. Then I shall know that my life is moving still with the dark earth, and drenched with deep oblivion of earth's lapse and renewal. And if, in the changing phases of man's life, I fall in sickness, in misery, and my wrists seem broken, and my heart seems dead, and strength is gone, and my life is only the leavings of a life. And still, among it all, snatches of lovely oblivion and snatches of renewal, odd wintry flowers upon the withered stem, yet new strange flowers, such as my life has not brought forth before, new blossoms of me. Then I must know that still I am in the hands of the unknown God. He's breaking me down to his own oblivion to send me forth on a new morning, a new man. I wish I had a nickel for every cancer patient I've walked beside who has complained about some well-meaning friend or another. Here they are, perhaps newly diagnosed, scared out of their wits, terrified they've been given a death sentence, and some well-meaning friend says, well, we're all going to die. I mean, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, right? Is that the best you got? Really? Is that supposed to give me some newfound perspective and make this all easier to digest? For the one with a cancer diagnosis, it's not theoretical anymore. It's in your face. There's no getting around it. So who will sit with me in this terror and sorrow and grief without the need to put a spin on it for me? In my decades of doing this work, I find a kind of distillation takes place, a winnowing down, if you will, to a pattern of 5 core life challenges, questions that will confront us all sooner or later, like it or not. There's no getting around it. But in the world of cancer, they get compressed into a kind of time-lapse movie for which no one bought a ticket, and yet there you are, trapped in the theater with the exit doors blocked. Now, I walk beside folks all over the belief spectrum, everyone from atheists and secular humanists to deeply religious folks of every stripe and everything in between, even folks for whom the word spirituality has no relevance whatsoever. But all will be confronted with these challenges, whether they would see it through a spiritual lens or not. I also observe a huge chunk of suffering that can get heaped on to the pain of the diagnosis by a resistance or refusal to engage with and wrestle with these questions, demanding somehow that there be answers given to them, that they would not be able to live, as Rilke would suggest. So they live the questions now. I also see that by engaging, wrestling with the questions, the possibility exists for relief or maybe even meaning-making. The first of these core challenges is coming to terms with uncertainty. We all like to know stuff. We like to know what I'm going to do next week. Next year, we want to know that everybody's fine. If cancer is anything at all, it is a guaranteed placeholder in the land of I don't know. I don't know what the scan's going to reveal. I don't know what it's going to mean for my treatment. I don't know what the side effects are going to be. I don't know how I'm going to feel next Tuesday. So no, I can't make a commitment to see you. I don't know if I'm going to survive. And yet we crave and cling this certainty, feeling certain it will bring us some kind of peace, when sometimes it brings just the opposite, anguish. Andrea's in her late 30s living with ovarian cancer, and she is certain that God gave her the cancer because she had an abortion when she was a young woman. It's my punishment. There's nothing I can do about it. Andrea, do you have any kids? Yeah, I got 3. Why? I imagine that at some point in their short lives, they have disappointed you with their behavior, their choices, their manners. Maybe they threw a temper tantrum in public, said, I hate you, Mommy. Did you love them any less in that moment? Of course not. I love my kids more than life itself. There's nothing they could do that could make me love them any less. Well, Andrea, if God is God, if God exists, if God is love, wouldn't God have to love you at least as much as you love your children? Could you really worship a God that would punish you with cancer because you made the best decision you felt you could have made at the time, given the pressures you were under? I never thought of it like that. Thank you. It was like this weight had been lifted from her shoulders, and it was only love. David is in his mid-50s, facing end-stage lung cancer. His body is riddled with it. He's on a walker. He's on oxygen. There are virtually no medical treatments left for him, and yet he recoils and resists his doctor's suggestion that he move to hospice care. That's quitting, he would say. I'm not a quitter. It's a pretty common perception. David, instead of seeing it as quitting, which you must admit has some judgment attached to it, a little bit of moralizing there, what if we saw it as changing course? The old game plan just isn't effective anymore. What if we need a new game plan that can optimize whatever time you have left? How about that? He wasn't buying any of it. He was still so attached to the idea of getting better. If I could just get off this walker, if I could just get off oxygen, I still think that's possible. I don't think my doctor is optimistic enough. But his relationship to uncertainty was a key part of the question, because he said, Michael, I've always been an agnostic. I've lived my whole life that way. I don't know. I find at times I'd like to believe that life goes on, but I don't know. If I could be sure, though, then it would be easier to change course, as you say. The second core challenge, in my view, has to do with coming to terms with powerlessness. In this culture in particular, we're kind of raised to believe that everything is possible if you're willing to work for it. Some religious notions are even infused with that idea. With God, all things are possible. Ask and it shall be given to you. We grow up thinking, gosh, if I go to a good enough school, get a good enough job, get enough insurance, wear my seatbelt, exercise, eat more kale, get a Ring camera, I'll be protected from any kind of loss or calamity that could come my way. You can do all that, get straight A's, and still get a cancer diagnosis. Carlos has barreled through his life, multitasking his way through multiple careers and business projects and endeavors, leaving him wildly successful. He's a planner and a goal setter. He fundamentally sees life as a problem to be solved, or more precisely, a series of problems to be solved, and then to move on. So much so that when approaching retirement age, he was slapped with a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. At first, he saw, well, this is just another problem to solve. Medical reality wasn't exactly cooperating with his worldview. He came face to face with powerlessness. A part of me even suspected that there was a part of him that might have been relieved just a bit by the diagnosis, because he had told me repeatedly he was terrified of retirement. I think I'm going to fail at retirement. I won't know what to do with myself. And now, sadly, he may not have to worry about it. After much talk and reflection, he finally surmised, I guess, Michael, when it comes right down to it, I'm afraid to die. Oh, that. I told him about my 6-year-old MacBook Pro computer, and that not long ago, it demanded that I upgrade to the Tahoe operating system. And once I did, my perfectly good but older printer stopped communicating with the computer, rendering the printer essentially useless. Carlos, what if your old operating system of seeing life as a solvable problem is not communicating with your reality? Maybe we need a new operating system that can include coming to terms with powerlessness and the reality that all problems don't have a solution. He really resonated with the imagery, so much so that when he came back for a second session, he proudly told me, you know what, Michael? I decided I'm going to plan some unstructured time this summer with my wife. Baby steps, planning unstructured time. But it's a start. Not unlike Carlos, Gretchen has devoted her whole life to pursuing business success and has achieved wild success at the expense of much of a personal life. But that didn't bother her so much until she got saddled with triple-negative breast cancer. And now she finds herself wishing she had someone to walk beside her through it all. But what really gets her is how the cancer has overtaken her life, every aspect of it. I just need to get some control back over my life, she said. She's a talker, has a lot to say, not much of a listener. I would offer an observation here and there, pose a question. I could tell it wasn't getting in at all. But to her credit, later in the session, she admitted, you know what? I don't think I listened, do I? I had to kind of agree with her. And we looked at how not listening is kind of a remnant of that same operating system of having control over the universe. To listen means giving up control for a moment. It means being vulnerable enough to let in another point of view that might be contrary to your own. The absence of listening just might have been part of what kept a personal life at bay for her. I don't know. But we looked at creating a new spiritual goal of coming to equanimity and acceptance with what is right now without grasping to try to control it all. The next core challenge has to do with coming to terms with injustice. It's just not fair. In my house growing up, if I complained to my mother that my brother or sister got something I didn't get, she would most likely say, well, nobody said life's fair. And then I'd go to school and the teacher would say, wait in line. Raise your hand before you speak. Give somebody else a chance to play with the ball. Share. Why? We're trying to make it fair. I already know it isn't. I think we live our whole lives in that tension between knowing it's not fair and yet believing it should be. Even the notion of karma is basically a just universe hypothesis, that you get what you put out, what goes around comes around. I find that so many folks don't realize how much they have clung to a just universe hypothesis until they get a diagnosis of cancer. Cancer demands that you come face to face with the inherent injustice of it all. I've walked beside multiple Vietnam veterans through their cancer, through their death, all caused by being exposed to Agent Orange decades ago, being drafted into a misguided, disastrous war against their will. What's fair about that? Clarice noticed an irregular kind of growth on her leg. She went to her HMO dermatologist, asked that it be removed and get a biopsy. He cut it off, but he refused to do the biopsy. I got it all. You're fine. A year later, stage 4 melanoma, terminal. I don't know that there's a way to come to peace with that. I see countless folks who will ask, why me? And I also see folks who will probably say, I've never asked why me. I say, why not me? Hang around long enough, and that person's going to say, Michael, I just wish I knew why this happened. As if that will bring some peace. I will sometimes ask folks if I could give you a sealed envelope today with your name engraved on it. Inside is a card with your reason. This is why this happened to you. Would you open the envelope? And if you did, do you suppose you would suffer less or suffer more to read the answer? To find out it's because you had too many Big Macs in high school, too many potato chips. It's because you were out in the sun too long. It's because your parents lived near a power plant. It's because you ate vegetables with pesticides on it. It's because you were an asshole in a previous life. Where are you going to do? What are you going to do with that information? How is it supposed to bring you any peace at all? Interestingly enough, I find folks that get cancers that do have a direct correlation to behavioral choices, namely lifelong smokers who get lung cancer, they don't wrestle with why me. And by and large, I find they cut themselves some slack and offer themselves grace to be a human being in the way that other patients do not. Hey, I knew it wasn't good for me. I knew it was bad. I took my chances. I didn't think it happened to me. Now, I have to pay the consequences. Brandon is in his early 30s, hardworking, earnest young man scrambling to take care of his wife who is on a runaway train of decline from kidney cancer. His job is at risk because of the time it takes to care for her, and he needs that job for the insurance. His life is in total collapse. His core spiritual wound, this isn't fair. Why us? She's so young. She's a good person. I'm a good person. We don't deserve this. No, you don't. But through his tears, he shared this incisive awareness, almost a confession. Michael, I also am aware that I have never felt more alive in my life, and I don't mean that as a good thing. I just mean that every moment of every day I am face to face with what matters now. It's not the comfort that could come from resting in a just universe theory, but it's something, isn't it? To be alive. The next core challenge has to do with coming to terms with mess. Life is messy. In this culture, we like to believe that life can or should be mess-free, that there's a place for everything, all the puzzle pieces fit. And yet, we're born into the world covered in blood, screaming and crying. Why do we presume that by the end of life, every T will be crossed, every I will be dotted, I will have all my to-do lists complete, everybody that needs them will have the passwords to all my accounts to settle them, I'll have had every conversation I need to have with everybody that matters, and I'll just go to sleep. That is true for no one. Every one of us will leave a mess. Our lives, in so many ways, are a mess. Cancer is a mess. Can it be okay? Can we learn to live with the mess? I love to travel almost more than anything in life. And in recent years, I've fallen in love with traveling in the developing world, most particularly India. I'm enamored with India. And largely for this very reason, there's no pretense at all that life isn't messy as hell. It's everywhere. Mess and decay, you cannot avoid it. And yet there is so much life force thrust through all of that mess, engaging with it, moving in it and through it, around it and beyond it, in a kind of embrace that just doesn't exist in our culture. Last year, in May of 2025, I took a 2-week solo journey to India that was a mess from start to finish. Nothing what I wanted or planned. Everything that almost could have gone wrong did. I was traveling in May because it was the optimal time of year to visit Kashmir in Ladakh, in the north, in the Himalayas. 2 days before I was to leave, Pakistani terrorists murdered dozens of Indians in the very village I was going to go. Kashmir is now off the table. I don't have trip insurance. I had to scramble, come up with another itinerary. God bless my beloved friend, my brother Sanjay, travel buddy. He coordinated a whole other itinerary for me. I left for Delhi not knowing where I was going. And he picked a lot of spots in western Rajasthan, very far off season. In some places, I was the only guest in the hotel. It was so hot, well into the triple digits, even at night. And yet it had its own austere, brutal kind of beauty to it and offered blessings and riches I could never have imagined or foreseen. One afternoon, we were driving into these sand dunes not far from the border of Pakistan to watch the sunset. And I was reflecting on trips taken years ago, decades ago with Scott, my husband, to far prettier places. It was such a different life. He was a different person. Our lives were filled with hope and aspiration and possibility. And likewise, those trips were infused with the same hope and possibility. Pretty hard to be down at the mouth when you're driving through the sublime countryside of England or strolling through the dizzying beauty of a place like Como or Portofino. India, on the other hand, offers up mess and calamity and decay mixed in with extraordinary beauty. And I find it so life-affirming in a way that those prettier kind of trips now only seem to promote the lies about life, that everything is possible. That's a little too harsh. Those trips have their own truth, their own reality for a different time and place. But from this place in my life, I find I can't afford to hold that as the gold standard of my experience any longer. There's just been too much loss, too much disappointment, and more guaranteed to come. Stephen Sondheim, in his Broadway musical play, Sunday in the Park with George, offers these words to the 19th century French pointillist painter Georges Seurat to sing to his mother, who's bemoaning, complaining about the ugliness of this foolish tower being built over there in the distance, the Eiffel Tower. "Oh, George, how I long for the old view," she says. And he sings to her, "Pretty isn't beautiful, mother. Pretty is what changes. What the eye arranges is what is beautiful." The last core challenge, and the one that I see as sort of an overarching umbrella of all the others, is what I've come to call spiritual distillation, a winnowing down to essence. Cancer will rob us of every attribute that we have used to identify ourselves our whole lives, our appearance, our abilities, our passions, our relationships. Life will do that on its own, guaranteed. It's just that cancer does it in a compressed kind of way. And I do need to say that there are blurry edges in and among all of these 5 core challenges, but undergirding each is a prerequisite. If we're serious about pursuing inner peace or equanimity, self-compassion. If I am judging myself so harshly for being waylaid in my life by uncertainty or powerlessness, or by the unfairness and injustice of it, by the mess of it, I stand no chance of coming to terms with any of it. Earlier this year, it became clear that I could no longer take care of my husband, Scott, at home on my own. He's been declining from Parkinson's disease for the last 10 years. I would need to find a facility in which to place him. Talk about a daunting and harrowing exercise. Emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and oh my God, financially. I found a place, I took him to see it, but it would be several weeks before we could move him in. As he has declined so sharply cognitively, we had the same conversation dozens of times in those weeks. Why do I have to go? Why can't I stay here? This is my home. What's it going to be like? How are we going to make it work? As if I had answers to any of those questions. And all 5 of these core challenges are swirling around, bleeding over the whole endeavor. Uncertainty. Will he ever adapt to this reality? Will I? What if he lingers so long that he leaves me bankrupt? Powerless over the onslaught of this disease. Unrelenting. Unfair? You bet. Nobody deserves this. And mess, my God, is it messy. But oh, that last one. Spiritual essence, that dwindling down. A couple days before we were to make the move, I served him dinner and sat down, and we had to have the conversation one more time. Why do I have to go? I don't understand. And I had to explain once again and remind him painfully of just how much ground he has lost in recent months, replete with examples that I knew were really hard for him to hear. And he looked at me so kind of blankly. And then through my tears, I said, "But honey, my job is to keep looking for that part of you that's still there, the part of you that I've loved for 48 years. And with this laser-like focus and clarity, he looks me right in the eye and said, "Oh, he's gone." I couldn't get over it. He's not here at all. It was so chilling to hear. And to hear him talk about himself in third person like that, as if he'd been swallowed up by some alien being. And in a way, he had been. But then I realize it's an article of faith on my part to even believe that it's possible that there's still a sliver of him in there, and to keep looking for it. It would be too unbearable to think it wasn't true. It's an article of faith. Is it still there? I don't know. What's kept me in the game for 48 years? You mean there's no remnant left, no breadcrumbs at all? Maybe there isn't. But it seems I have a choice to make. And so my choice is, for now, to wait and keep my eye peeled for those little glimmers, essence of Scott, here or there, all the while holding open. Hope is too strong of a word, but possibility that this is still part of the long arc of a 48-year love story. This is the tragic final chapter, but just maybe it has its own brutal kind of beauty to it, in the way that the western Rajasthani desert does in the summer heat, all the while dreaming of beautiful mountains in Kashmir. There's no way around it, I guess. So, we live the questions now. So be it. Thank you.
Your offering today, it goes to the many folks who make this congregation a home. It also goes to bring in our amazing guest ministers, so keep that in mind as well. We have so many committees. We are blessed with so many committees at this church, so many ministries. Our animal ministry, our tech ministry, our music ministry, our amazing folks doing religious education, always a team job. We've got UU the Vote. We've got our Saturday music and food festivities and so much more. Some amazing folks are about to collect an offering today. And we're going to share half of it with Divinaville Pines, which is our retreat high in the mountains for liberal religious faith and for us to take a breath together under the trees. You owe it to yourself to go. Plan on it if you can. It's the first weekend in October. And again, thanks for being here. Thanks for all you give of your money, of your time, of your spirit here at UUSM and beyond. The ushers are invited to come forward. Your offering will be gratefully received.
I passed the day at the morning tree, where the river's sorrows run deep, and all at once a host of birds did settle and nest around me. In this song I heard your song, I heard the bombers drone. Beneath those birds and the swaying wheat, I heard you coming home. Oh, my love, where did you fly after you came home to me? Like the nightjar, you left me here to nest in the morning tree. And now we will have our closing hymn, This Boat, from the Singing Out Love hymn.
I invite you to close your eyes, and if you feel so comfortable, I know it's hot, but maybe take the hand of the one next to you, or not, and feel the softness, the dampness, the power of what it means to come together like this, a fragmented lot to be sure, but still connected. May we move with more fascination than fear toward the answers that cannot be given to us. May we learn to dance with the inherent uncertainty, powerlessness, injustice, and mess of our lives, just as they are today. Let's live with the questions now, and might we then discover along the way just who we are, what we are made of, and what we are connected to. So be it. Please be seated for the postlude.